guys, we're back with the podcast. It's Kylie and Zori, and today it's going to be on cryptozoology.
So this was, this topic was like all, like because of, we were just talking about in our last podcast about how things we were obsessed with as kids, and I was obsessed with cryptozoology. How many 7-year-olds do you know walking around saying cryptozoology? But I'm just going to like define it. If you don't know what it is, you probably do know, but you might just not know the word. Basically, cryptozoology is a pseudoscience and subculture that searches for and studies unknown, legendary, or extinct animals whose presence and existence is like disputed. Particularly those in like folklore, such as the Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, Yeti, the Chupacabra, the Jersey Devil, etc., etc., etc. Goes into like a bunch of different things. That was just a definition off of fucking Wikipedia, but like that's essentially what it is. So a lot of you probably know like Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster. Those are ones I was really obsessed with as a kid, but I also got into like these weird specific ones like the Jersey Devil, because like it's just like it doesn't make sense. Like it's just like one specific area where these sightings were happening, and it was in Jersey.
Which is weird.
So I wanted to like do a whole podcast on it because it's just weird as fuck, and it was like one of those things that I was just so crazy obsessed with as a kid, and just like never had anybody that was also obsessed with it, and just like I just feel like it would be so interesting to do a whole podcast like talking about like sightings and shit like that. There used to be a website called cryptozoology.com.
RIP.
And they would, I know, RIP, because they had all these pictures and sightings and accounts and whatnot. I mean, obviously none of this was like completely like, oh, this is for sure 100% real.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of people on there bullshitting, but the whole point was like it was all there. You know, it was like a forum for it. And yeah, I used to go on there all the time. I just searched it up and it says this has been taken down. So yeah, so that was... rip that website. But
it's really sad because I really wanted to see it, because I don't think I ever tapped into it as a kid, and it would be really cool to see.
Yeah, no, it's really awesome. So, okay, what do you know about any of this?
Well, I know Bigfoot, obviously, Loch Ness Monster. Does Slender Man fall into this category? Or
weirdly, kind of, but also not really.
Because isn't he like the woods, but like a really tall, like 9 foot, 8 foot
I feel like
man?
that's more of like it's not like not this, but it also isn't. Like,
okay,
cryptozoology is more like animals and like
and
he's like animalistic type things, and he's like humanoid, like
so
he's more of like a urban legend than like a cryptid,
right? Okay, so then
they kind of like overlap, but like you know what I mean. But
it's like branches off each other. I do know Loch Ness Monster then, and I do know Bigfoot. I would say like those might be the only two out of the list. What else did you say? Didn't know Jersey Devil.
Yeti is just like a version of Bigfoot.
I know Yeti.
I know Yeti is
it's like
the winter version.
The tundra.
He's like, I'm in the mountains.
Yeah,
like the snow version of whatever. But I always think that these things are so interesting because it's like, you just, I don't know, like there's so many different sightings from different people of like these one things. And it's like, because like, you know, everybody has like a different account of like sightings of what they've seen or whatever. And I feel like obviously the most iconic cryptid is Bigfoot. And so we can start with Bigfoot and go into like a couple of the other, and we'll get more like, it'll get more unhinged as the podcast goes. We'll get more like deep into like the ones that not everybody talks about or knows about. But I want to start with something very general. And Bigfoot. So, like, some of the history of, like, where everything started. The iconic Bigfoot footage is, like, it's called, the Patterson-Gimlin film. And basically these two guys, they went out to find Bigfoot, I'm pretty sure. But they went out to, like, somewhere in California. I forget. But this was in 1967. And so, like, cameras back then were, like,
not even good.
They weren't good, but this was really good footage, but it was like clunky, right? So it took a lot of time to like set up a camera and like do whatever. And like Yeah, so, like, this was, like, an iconic footage. It's, like, the Bigfoot picture. I'll show it to you. If you guys don't know it, like, look it up. But, like, it's
He
really...
looks like a big ape.
It's really, like, the big... Yeah, it's,
but
like, the big...
See, my brain was thinking he was, like, light and dark brown.
Oh, really?
You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't thinking he was,
color
like, black
him
and
now.
looks like
We
a
have, like, he's,
gorilla
like, a
and,
character now. So, but this film is actually so creepy. Well, it's not, like, creepy, but, like, when you look at it, you're just like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, what is that? And a lot of people are like, oh, that's just a guy in a suit. And I think there was, like, even a thing, if you guys know anything about it, like, there's comments, right? Like, you can leave it in the comments if you know anything about it. But, I don't know, somebody said that, like, he came out and said it was fake, but I don't think that that's ever been, like, fully confirmed that he said it was fake. But even if he did, like, this footage is just iconic, regardless.
Right. Guy in a suit, though. Didn't they also say Bigfoot was, like, a certain height? Not, like, a certain, but, like, very tall.
Like, way taller than
like
a guy in a
10
suit.
or
Yeah,
12
something
feet,
like that. The footage is insane. Literally look up, like, the Peter Gimlin film. You'll see it. It's like it's like not 2 seconds long, but it's really short. And it's just, you can see it, like, walking, and then it looks back at, like, the people filming, and then it just kind of keeps walking, like, oh shit, like, I don't want to, whatever. And it's so weird. And my thing with Bigfoot was always, like, we just don't know, you know, like, there's a lot of shit out there that zoologists and just, like, we've done so much to discover all these species, but there's still so many species being found every year. So many things where it's like, if this is just one thing left, like, I also hear a lot of the things I hear people say is like, oh, well, like, if Bigfoot exists, wouldn't he be dead by now? Like, you know, this was 1967, right?
True.
And that's such a good point. This is one of those things where it's like, I'm not, like, 100% on it, but I do think it's interesting to think about. But you also think about, do you even really get Bigfoot sightings anymore?
Right, that's true. That's true.
I have not seen any in a really long time.
That's true.
And we all have smartphones now, so if anything, you'd think there would be more.
Right.
Like, there's less. People seeing it way, you know, and it's like, also, if this is something where we don't know what it is, we don't know its, like, lifespan or how long it can, like, live or whatever.
Like,
tortoises live till, like, 100.
100 and something,
so if this thing was, like maybe 20 in 1967, like, in any way could, like, live, like, super long, like, it would have died, like, somewhere, like, early to mid 2000s. Right. And that's, I'm gonna say, honestly, where we fell off. I don't see people coming out with sightings anymore.
That's true.
Like, I don't hear even people talking about it really anymore. It was, like, a huge thing, early 2000s, all the way from, like, mid 19, you know, whatever. Like, so, I don't know. I think it's so interesting, and, like, the different places. And then Sasquatch branched off into, like, Yeti, which was, like I said before, like, the winter version of Bigfoot. It was essentially Bigfoot in the mountains. And then there was, like, also, I think Bigfoot and Sasquatch are just, like, interchangeable.
I think
but yeah, essentially there was also, like, sightings of feet prints. That's where the whole name comes from. But yeah, where was because I know they found, there also was a version of of Bigfoot called the skunk ape, which apparently had a smell. Okay. This one had a smell, and so that's what they call it, the skunk ape. But
so multiple.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's also interesting,
right,
to me, because I'm like, that makes
maybe then they're interbreeding
a lot more. Yeah,
and then
there's one that just stinks so fucking bad, and they just proposed explanations. Oh yeah, also a lot of people think it could be like a black bear, but I'm sorry, if you've seen any of the footage, it just doesn't look like a bear.
No, if anything, it literally looks like a gorilla.
Yeah,
not a black bear.
Black bears, people think it's escaped apes. But even that, like, they walk like humans, look like apes. I know apes can be, like, bipedal, but, like, they're not, like, they don't walk like us. You know what I mean? When I see an ape walking, I see an ape walk. Well, how often do I see an ape walking? But, like, when you look like an ape walk, it's not like us. Yeah. It's just similar. But when you see Sasquatch walking, it looks like us mixed with that, weirdly. Yeah. Because it's not very human either. Yeah. It's just kind of off. Like, it just feels like a weird version of an animal. Yeah.
And the Yeti was, like, Mount Everest, right? Because there's the ride at Disney, Mount Everest, and the Yeti is like a huge symbol in that ride.
No, 100%. And people, it goes way beyond sightings because people have found like things, right? They found footprints, which also are like people say are totally hoaxable, which like I guess they are, but also like certain things just like are okay. Like, you know what I mean? There was different bones. There was like this jawbone that was found. Mandibles of like it just doesn't add up and
to be like any other animal.
Yeah. And I mean,
in the woods,
when I think about it, like logically, it could be like past human, like way like fossil, you know what I mean, type whatever. But it's just weird things of like maybe this is like even there's not one, there's multiple, like we said, and maybe there's just so few, like borderline extinct.
Because how would there only be one? How would there just be one of something? There can't be one.
Where did it even come from?
Yeah, exactly, right.
Right, well, a lot of people also have a theory that Bigfoot is extraterrestrial.
Right.
But I'm just like, that looks so weird. But I'm like, we wouldn't know what it looks like anyway. We have this idea of what extraterrestrials look like in our brain. They could look like anything. Anything.
Yeah.
Like
that, the fact that aliens could just look like regular humans.
Exactly. It could, I don't know. So
also, the thing with the Yeti, like, if it is Mount Everest, no human is able to get to like the top, right? So what if it lives at the top, right? In some cave somehow, and we would never know.
Yeah, no, I feel like that's totally possible. Because
humans can't even make it very far up Mount Everest at all.
No, there's actually bodies that are markers on Mount Everest.
So like there's probably a good decent chunk that we haven't been able to get up until that they could be living up there. That one's very possible.
100%. So when it comes to sightings, there's like been over 10,000 apparently in the US, with most of them. Oh, it says reports from every state except the island of Hawaii, which is so interesting. He can't swim. He said I can't get
Couldn't get there.
But so there's been reports in every single state except for Hawaii, but about a third of all the sightings and claims are located in the Pacific Northwest, which is where the Patterson-Gimlin film took place. It was in California, so that makes sense. And they mostly occur in the northwestern region of Washington State.
Okay, so that's like the very top,
on the edge,
which, I mean, and if they're being cited like throughout every single state, it kind of leads you to believe that there could be more than one, because it is like animals necessarily don't travel all around the United States. Like, if he's kind of comfortable where he is, I don't know. It just seems odd that he could possibly be in every state, so there could be multiple.
It's just so, I don't know, the Bigfoot phenomenon is wild. There's so much, if you look into it, there's so many photographs and everything, and I just wanted to like get on like the surface of Bigfoot. I'm not an expert by any means. I've been just like reading off of Wikipedia, but these are again like this. I wanted to bring this up because it's just such an interesting thing to talk about, of like these things of like everybody's seeing this one thing, but like nobody knows what it is and nobody's gotten close to it. Which is, I don't know, it's just crazy to think about. And it's the same thing with like Loch Ness. Like, how many years have people been seeing, how many years is this thing gonna, and again, I don't hear people talk about that anymore either. No,
but I feel like that's more breedable as well for some reason. I feel like it could breed with like anything in the water. And then make, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, it is weird because I think Loch Ness is brought up the most as of I'm aware of, because every time I'm at like a lake or something, or like a pond, I'm like, like
the Loch Ness Monster.
Like, you know what I mean? But I don't necessarily walk into the woods and my first thought is Bigfoot. But with the water, it is like, oh God, like what's in here?
Right.
Like,
and I think it's because we just don't know that much about water.
Yeah.
So another thing, I mean, I'll dive like a little bit into Loch Ness. I feel like it's so appropriate to like bring up the first two, those being the first two, because I feel like they're the most talked about.
One more thing about
go ahead.
Bigfoot though. Think about it. So this was in the 60s, right?
67 was the first, like... So... I don't know if it was the first sighting, because they apparently went looking for him.
So maybe not.
But it was... I think it was the first footage.
But you have to take into counter that all the footage back then, like, I don't think they knew what Photoshop was. I don't think they were capable of it.
Like, so if it was a hoax, what people are saying,
if
people are saying that anybody saying that video is a hoax is saying that somebody dressed up.
Right. But
and
that's it.
I don't know. Have you seen the video?
No.
I want to show you the video.
But like, what about all the pictures too? Like, Photoshop is very doable now. It's almost like second nature to be able to do it. But back then, no one was like, that wasn't a thing. You weren't able to figure out Photoshop back then. So it would only be people dressing up. But you're going to tell me someone dressed up in every single state? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, for it to all look the same.
Somebody, well, here it is. I don't know. This is like a re-upload of it. I'm not going to let you guys hear this ad that we're being given right now. Look it up. Just like you can find the Peter Gimlin film. This isn't exactly what it looked like. Somebody's like stabilizing it or something, but like this is essentially the video.
It's just so weird.
I don't know.
It looks so gorilla-ish.
Yeah.
Because I think it's just showing.
It does.
I'm really trying to tell down by the feet if like the shoe, if there's
this
like
is the iconic
pants,
shot
like,
of like
not connecting.
It like looking back with the.
I really can't tell if that's like actual feet or like shoes and pants like not connecting. Like I'm trying to see if there's flowy pants.
I don't know. Like, oh, here you can kind of see.
It's just so bizarre.
It's so weird. And it's like walking steadily like
But
away.
it doesn't even look that tall.
No, but a lot of people are saying it would be bigger. So that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of hoaxes, too, that have happened and occurred. Because obviously when you get hype around something, people are going to be like, okay, well, let's, like, make a fake one. So, yeah, that's a whole aspect of debunking, like, hoaxes and stuff. But this is, like, the most iconic, like, film of Bigfoot that we just don't know the fucking answer. I feel like it's so strange, and I love things where you just don't know the answer because you can just think about it forever. Right. And like I don't know, kind of like spiral into
you see it in person yourself.
It's
just a mystery.
Oh
you know what I mean?
100%. So that being said, I'm gonna quickly go into Loch Ness a little bit. Which this is also the iconic picture of Loch Ness Monster. Like the most iconic. God. I think the first one.
And I wonder what year that was too.
This says 1934.
Oh, dang. Okay.
But this also said that this photograph is now known to have been a hoax. I don't know. Again, this is one of those things where it's like, I don't know. I did hear that they found out that it was a hoax. But I'm like, how do you find that out? The person who took it is like dead. Yeah. Like, not that they are. They might not be. But like, I don't know. You know, it's just, I don't know. It's interesting to me. Essentially, Loch Ness Monster is, Lake Loch Ness is in Scotland, if you don't know. It's not in America. And also known as Nessie, is like a creature in Scottish folklore that is said to inhabit Loch Ness in the Scottish Highlands. It's often described as long-necked, and with one or more humps protruding from the water. Popular interest and belief in the creature has varied since it was brought to worldwide attention in 1933. Evidence of its existence is anecdotal, with a number of disputed photographs and sonar readings. So essentially it's a lake monster. And sightings. Let's get into sightings. So the earliest report of a monster in the vicinity of Loch Ness appears in the life of State Columba by Autumnan, which was written in the 6th century A.D.
Oh my.
So crazy.
So long ago.
Yeah, so it was like a book, and it basically was an Irish monk was staying in the land when he encountered a local residents burying a man by the river Ness. They explained that the man was swimming in the river when he was attacked by a water beast that mauled him and dragged him underwater, despite their attempts to rescue him by boat. The beast approached him, but Columba made the sign of a cross and said, "Go no further, don't touch me," something like that. Believers in the monster point to the story to set the river Ness rather than the loch itself as an evidence for creature's existence in the early 6th century. So that's just like, I mean, I never knew about that. I just was reading that. But one of the things that made me think that the Loch Ness Monster was real was like the idea of, which I brought up before, of like, that maybe like the closest thing that we know that is real that looks like the Loch Ness Monster is a plesiosaurus. And I'll show you what that looks like. If you don't know what it looks like, look it up. Please.
Is that the form of a dinosaur?
Yeah, it is it is a dinosaur, yeah.
Which, who even said that water dinosaurs went extinct?
That's like literally the whole point.
Like,
yeah. If you look at a plesiosaurus, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Essentially, this is like a skeleton of a plesiosaurus.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
When we look at like what the Loch Ness Monster looks like, the closest thing is like a plesiosaurus.
Is it hostile, or is it like
what do you mean?
Know if it like? Because they were saying the Loch Ness Monster attacked him.
Actually,
you know what I mean?
Let me actually see. Let's
like if it was like aggressive or anything, or if it was just chill.
So a plesiosaurus is a genus extinct. Oh, okay. I just opened like a whole thing I didn't mean to open. Description. Oh, it's like, if you look at it compared to like a human, it's like kind of it's not that much bigger.
Only it's about double the size.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm trying to see here. Vertebral column. Last I remember, it was a it's known by nearly complete skeletons from Lias of England, which is so weird because that's like by Scotland.
Yeah.
But
maybe
habitat facts. That's what I needed. Plesiosaur, any of a group, long neck. Last I checked, it was like an herbivore, so I don't feel like it was like eating people. But I mean, I don't know.
It could have always evolved to be that way.
Yeah, no, totally.
Nature.
I think that like one of the things was like if at one point like there was a freezing, which it happens like all the time in the history of Earth, like global freezings.
Yes.
Maybe it stayed frozen and somehow thawed and was fine.
Well, yeah.
And which is like not completely out of the realm of possibility, because like they're finding like in the Arctic there are plagues being unleashed, like that are melting from the ice from forever ago, that like bacteria bacteria we've never encountered was frozen in the water in the Arctic. And so now that like global warming's happening and like shit's melting, that's another issue with like global warming, is that we could be exposed to like bacteria that's been frozen for years.
Ice Age, the Meltdown,
no, it's crazy.
Have you seen that movie?
Yes, I have. It's so good. But so people are thinking like maybe this thing froze and thawed and somehow like was still alive and woke up in the lake and was the only one of its kind.
Right.
And just was there.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's crazy to think about, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's so
weird. Well, they were saying, Green Lakes.
Mm-hmm.
They were saying, so in Green Lakes, it's a local lake we have around here. Apparently, they haven't been able to get to the deepest part of it.
Oh my God.
With machinery, which is like terrifying, because like there's one part that's very deep.
Lakes freak me out too, because they're not as wide as like the ocean.
Yeah.
So it's like that's actual history of this one spot.
And they were saying that I don't know why they thought this, but they thought that there was a possibility that a mammoth could be frozen.
That is scary as fuck. Down there?
Something down there.
Why would it be under there?
I don't know. I remember hearing about this, and it was like a huge thing a couple years ago for a while.
Oh my God.
I just know they can't get to the bottom of it fully yet, and it's terrifying.
I don't know, that's one of those things where you just think about it. And so I'm like, if you think about like an animal, I mean, if you were frozen and like woke back up like underneath this thing, like
what?
Because I mean, this was a dinosaur that existed in the water, like, and so it's like that would make sense why it was down there. already anyway, and then you wake up and you're just like, I don't know where my family is or what anything is. So,
I don't even know what year it is.
Yeah, maybe you're trying to eat. I mean, if there's fish in that lake, it's probably just eating the fish. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or if it is an herbivore, it's probably just eating the vegetation at the bottom of the lake. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's really, really strange, the sightings. And
I feel like no one really, like, takes time to, like, explore lakes.
No,
like,
I
no
remember.
One's like,
No,
let's
I was
get to the bottom of every part of this lake. Like,
that was literally what I mentioned in the last podcast. Was I was like, I was a kid and I was so pissed off, like viscerally angry that nobody just like went to the bottom.
Yeah,
I was like, why doesn't anybody just like go down there and figure it out then? I'm also like, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I was totally convinced that I would though. I was like, I would. I was like, I just want to go figure it out. Like, I'll go down. Like,
it just kind of blows my mind that people just haven't by like now.
But it is so
Especially with
crazy
our
to think about.
technology.
Like, talking about this has reminded me that people don't really talk about this stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it was a thing for so long. Like, you think about most of these sightings were in like the 1930s, 1960s, and they were like talked about all the way up until like early to mid 2000s, and now it's just like dead.
Yeah.
Nobody ever brings up like actually the most thing that I see brought up, and it's not even brought up by like people like, do you think Bigfoot's real, is like Bigfoot merch. Like, I always see Bigfoot merch. Merch. Like, always in like some natural, like some place where like people love nature and like the woods and stuff. It's always like Bigfoot, like whatever. Like, there'll be like a Bigfoot on a mug, Bigfoot on a t-shirt. Like, there's so much Bigfoot merch.
That's so funny.
So I'll see those, but it's always like in a jokey way, which is like totally fine. Like, it's funny, but I just like never hear anybody like talk about like what if it's real still, which is so interesting because like it kind of was alive for a long time. It's not like it happened and then it like died down. It happened and it was, people talked about it, and now like no one's talking about it. Right. So I'm like, are these cryptids dead? So I don't know. That's interesting. Is the Jersey Devil, which is around us. I mean, around us. But like New Jersey is by us.
4 or 5 hours away.
Yeah, so I feel like this one's pretty interesting. And I also like found out about this one when I was younger and thought it was just so weird because essentially it looks, I'll show you. It's obviously native to parts. It says of pine barrens, native to pine barrens of New Jersey. So I'm guessing that's just like the woods. Or if it's a place. Probably. I'm not from Jersey, so if you're from Jersey, you probably know what I'm talking about. But it's described as having like hooves, a snake's tail, bat wings, and the head of a horse or goat. So if you kind of look at it, like different pictures I've seen almost kind of look like literally like a goat with bat wings.
Do you have a picture? Because I feel like I'm picturing in my head what,
it's like
what
a
he
goat
looks
with
like.
Bat wings. That's essentially what it kind of looks like to me. Jersey Devil sighting, and you guys should look it up too,
just for reference.
Yeah,
photos
so you know
of your
what we're
own.
kind of like talking about. There's different pictures. This is the one that like,
oh my gosh,
was caught. I think at some point was caught.
That is so
I don't know
weird.
if that's like fake or what, but that looks like that, and then like drawn depictions are like that.
Okay, I see.
Which is like some people say it's like a horse head, so
yeah,
like, that makes sense.
Very odd looking.
Very strange. Very like, almost like satanic looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So getting into the history of it and where the first sightings happened. So the first sightings date back to all the way to the early 1700s, which is weird as fuck. And then the origin story essentially is like, this thing is the baby of a soldier and his mistress. And the mistress was thought to be a witch.
Okay.
So I think, like, maybe he was cheating or some shit, and then they gave birth to this, like, devil baby that now is, like...
A goat mixed with a bat.
But let's get into the sightings, because that's the good shit. So let's get into what people say that they saw, and when they saw it, and how they saw it. Okay, so... This is on the Cryptid Wiki. So you can find all this information on there. But the Jersey Devils of modern sightings are wildly different things than like what is known, I guess, from the past. The name has been applied to cryptids that are more or less resemble the original Jersey Devil, but it also is applied to nearly every New Jersey cryptid imaginable. such as hairy humanoids that resemble Bigfoot, mystery birds, and even eastern cougars. One Jersey Devil sighting described a hairy humanoid with a deer's head and glowing red eyes. That's terrifying. A number of well-publicized but not very convincing hoaxes have managed to confuse the matter even more, scaring researchers away from the topic. So on July 27th, which is my mom's birthday, but this is before her birthday. So on July 27th of 1937, an unknown animal with red eyes seen by residents of Downingtown, Pennsylvania, was compared to the Jersey Devil by a reporter for the Pennsylvania Bulletin of July 28th. In 1951, a group of Gibbstown, New Jersey boys claimed to have seen a monster matching the devil's description, and claims of a corpse matching the Jersey Devil's description arose in 1957. And then in 1960, tracks and noises heard near Mays Landing were claimed to be from the Jersey Devil. So that's interesting.
Okay, so one of the first sightings, though, you were saying was in like the 1700s? Or that's when it...
That's when they say that's how far back the sightings go to.
But that's like more like a realistic thing, because think about it. If it's like a goat bat thing, it could easily breed. So the ones that they're seeing more recently in the 1900s could be from it breeding. You know what I mean? If it's like more like an animal type thing, it makes more sense how you could have sightings. Too.
I think like it's kind of almost connected to just being like a demon.
Yeah.
That just like, or maybe even like a weird like thing that I don't fucking know, that just like is floating around. Like I don't even know if it's like an animal fully. But I don't know. They said they found like a body that was interesting. That was like it.
It's weird that it's only to Jersey though.
That's the part like weirdly I feel like the Jersey Devil is one of the most like one of those cryptids that's like very easily unbelievable, right? Like this thing is like not real. Right. But at the same time it's like, why are we only seeing it in the one area then?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Because I was gonna say they
like that part alone makes it more believable.
Right.
All the way back to the 1700s, not all over the U.S. like Bigfoot, not all over the world like Bigfoot, really. Right. But literally confined to like northeast, like Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
Yeah, that's what makes it really weird, because I was thinking they named it the Jersey Devil because like the first sighting was in Jersey, so they go, what do we call it? The Jersey Devil. Yeah. But then
I'm guessing the first sightings had to have been at least in the area.
Yeah.
Because they said the sightings go all the way back to the 1700s, and I imagine if they were all over, they would say that. But
then people are still seeing up until the 1900s. Yeah, that's in Jersey, kind of, same thing. Like,
yeah, it's interesting. It says, in cryptozoology, the Jersey Devil is one of those weird creatures that many investigators prefer to ignore when it's thought to be an undiscovered species of animal. It's generally classified as a living pterodactyl, perhaps a genus similar to Dimorphodon. The Jersey Devil is apparently located in the Pine Barrens, a heavily wooded area in New Jersey. Okay, so
that's terrifying.
Right. That is. It was thought to have a connection with the Montauk Monster, which I don't know what that is. There's a link. You guys can look that up. We're not going to go over that today. In 1909, there was like a couple sightings. So in 1909, January 16th, newspapers of the time published hundreds of claimed encounters with the Jersey Devil from all over the state. Among the alleged encounters, there were claims that the creature attacked a trolley car and a social club, and then police in the area supposedly fired on a creature to no effect. So they like all like shot it and like nothing happened. What? Other reports initially concerned unidentified footprints in the snow, but soon sightings of creatures resembling the Jersey Devil were being reported through South Jersey and as far away as Delaware and Western Maryland. Oh, okay. So it does, but it's still up to the northeast. Like it's still like
Delaware is like the border in Jersey. Yeah. Anyways, so
the widespread newspaper coverage led to panic throughout Delaware Valley, prompting a number of schools to close,
Oh my God, what?
And workers to stay home. During this period, it's rumored that the Philadelphia Zoo posted a $10,000 reward for the creature's dung.
Okay, and $10,000 back then?
For the poop? Girl, I'm bringing you a bag of my dog shit.
Right.
And I'm telling you, it's the Jersey Devil. Like, how are you going to test that in time?
The DNA of it in there?
Yeah, but, like, how are you going to test that in time? Or maybe it's $10,000 we test it and we don't know what it is.
Yeah, just to figure out, like, what it could be.
But how... Like, y'all can find it. Like, that's just weird.
Wow, schools were being closed?
The offer prompted a variety of hoaxes. Right, which is why I'm like...
Yeah, because $10,000 back then is what? Like, $100,000 now?
Including a kangaroo with artificial wings.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, kangaroos don't belong here, so...
Yeah.
They wouldn't even survive here.
So, yeah,
I can't believe the closing.
Oh, there was an X-Files episode called The Jersey Devil, where unlike more common and fantastic descriptions, the Jersey Devil of this episode is instead likened to a feral humanoid or possible subspecies of mankind. While this flies in the face of all traditional descriptions of the creature, the lack of special effects budgeting in the early episodes of the X-Files undoubtedly forced the producers to make a more cost-effective version of the creature. Wow, that's so interesting.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that's about it on the Jersey Devil. There's, like, all these different, like, things about it, but the whole subspecies of human thing and humanoid creatures does freak me out. And, like, thinking about, like, even if it's not, like, a breeding thing, but, like, or, I mean, I guess a breeding thing, but, like, just... all the things that, like, evolved off, and, like, what if this is one of the things
right.
like, just, like, evolved weird as fuck into, like, something else? Like, I don't know.
It's very possible.
Like, what is it? You know? So, that's it on the Jersey Devil. Do you have any more thoughts on that?
I didn't know anything about it, honestly. Yeah. I just think it's crazy they closed schools.
I know, for that, and then
it must have been really like dangerous.
$10,000, like.
I mean, that only makes sense if they're able to like investigate it and figure it out and be like, what is the DNA of this? Like, it's like flies, but it's also possibly an animal or possibly a human. Like, what?
So the next one I want to talk about is one that I probably actually talk about a lot more without Cryptid Wiki. But it's the Chupacabra. So you guys have probably heard that word at least once in your life, I feel like. I know there was a Scooby-Doo episode about it. It was one of my favorite episodes of Scooby-Doo. But basically the Chupacabra is known, I think it is more known to Mexico. But it's essentially like a fucking wild, like, dog.
Yeah.
Like, that, which is why you were like, isn't that real?
Well, I thought I heard
but, like, it's like... a specific kind where, like, it's weird as fuck. So, like, based on my own knowledge, this is fully from my own head, and then we'll get into what, like, Cryptid Wiki says. It was things like people who had, like, farms or ranches with, like, animals, like cows, goats, like, their own dogs, their chickens and shit, were randomly having them be, like, killed, right? And they're like, oh, it's the coyotes doing this. Or, oh, it's, like, whatever the, like, predator that is around is like, oh, it's them. But then shit started getting weird because it was the way that they were being killed that was confusing to people, where it's like, this isn't a fucking coyote. Like, right. I remember it was something about the blood being drained completely dry from the animal. And it's like...
It's so weird.
Dogs don't do that.
Right.
It's like a vampire dog or something. Like, blood literally complete... Like, I think... Remember when, like, the bodies were found of, like, cows or whatever, it would be ripped open a certain type of way, and then there would literally be, like, bone dry, no blood. Like...
That's so weird.
So strange. Yeah. And then... the way it looks. So I'll show you this video because this is funny because this is the video that I remember seeing on this one show, which I have to tell you about later. But
I feel like I saw what it looks like too. It's kind of like this has got like crazy teeth and stuff too.
If you type in Chupacabra on police camera, you can find this video. but I'll show this to you. It's so interesting. I haven't seen this in so long, but people, I remember when they were analyzing, like, this video, they were, like, analyzing how long, like, the dog's snout was, and, like, if it was a dog that was just hairless or something like this. Like, I'll get into it a little bit now, because why not? I'll tell you. But I used to watch this show called Fact or Faked. Did you ever watch the show? Do you remember the Sci-Fi Channel?
I don't think I watched it.
Okay, I barely watched the Sci-Fi Channel.
I feel like that sounds familiar. Like,
so, I might have, like, brought it up before. It's just, like, weird, because that looks like it could be something else, but,
kind of like a
coyote
like a hyena
or a hyena. It's like a hyena mixed with a coyote
weird...
mixed with, like, a dog.
Yeah.
But I remember they were... So, basically, Fact or Faked is, like, this show where, this group of people, this guy who's, like, ex-FBI, allegedly. I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming so. I'm assuming you can't just say that on TV without somebody getting mad at you if it's not true. But, ex-FBI, and then, like, some photographers he knew, and, some other people, they all got together. It's literally, like, you would love this show so much. It was my favorite thing ever to watch. My mom only watched it because I was obsessed with it. But basically, they all would get together and each bring a video. Like, it was, like, a reality, like, almost like Ghost Hunter thing, but not as, like, they basically would try to, like, debunk shit, right? So they would all, like, there's 5 of them in the room. They all bring a video to the meeting. They all put the video up, like, hey, this video is located from, like, Pennsylvania. These 2 girls were hanging out, and they thought they saw a ghost, and this is the video. And everybody sees the video, and everybody kind of analyzes it. They go through all, I think they pick, like, only 2 at the end to try to, like, go and investigate themselves to see if they can recreate the video, to see if it's, like, a hoax, or hoaxable, at least. And then also to, like, I don't know, like, just see if it's real, and ask people in the area about it. And it was just so cool, because there were so many episodes of the show. They did it with ghosts. They did it, that's how I found out about the Battle of LA. Because they tried to literally recreate that, and I remember it was, like, the coolest thing ever.
Are we talking about that in a different podcast? Because I think we said we were
did.
gonna... I totally forgot about it, too.
Yeah, no, we definitely should. But, yeah, they broke that down. They did different ghost videos, and that video is one that they tried to recreate. Because I remember they, like, tried to see the length of, like, the snout, and they were like, this is way longer than, like, any regular... Like, the biggest dog we know, and, like, that thing was, like, hairless. So that was... And they're like, oh, it could have been mange. Like, they really try to, like, debunk it to see if, like, how real it could be.
Right.
So I think that that's pretty interesting. But, yeah, the Chupacabra. So I just fucking lost it. But did you know anything about it?
I didn't really... I thought it was, like, real. I don't know. I thought it was something that was a wild animal. Yeah. Like some kind of creature. I don't know. That's weird to me.
Yeah. Okay. So I forgot about this, but Chupacabra stands for goats, or it means goat sucker. And it's known for its attacks on livestock, which is like what I just said.
Right.
But it supposedly eats chickens, goats, and other farm animals, pets too. And it's been reported all over the Americas, specifically southwestern United States, Mexico, and Puerto Rico. There are 2 common versions of the Chupacabra. There's a reptilian kind, the true Chupacabra, and the canid kind, which are also called blue dogs. I've never heard of that.
Me either.
But okay. There have been more than 2,000 sightings of both types.
Oh my God.
When it sucks blood, it allegedly makes an odd noise. There was also recordings of, like, odd noises at night.
Why wouldn't this be real? You know what I mean? It probably was.
Yeah.
Like...
So, sightings in history. The first known attacks were in March of 1995. Oh, that's not that long ago.
That's pretty recent.
In Puerto Rico, 8 sheep were discovered dead, each completely drained of blood. Investigators found 3 strange puncture wounds in the chest of the animals. Despite the odd circumstances, authorities could only attribute the killings to a known predator, a fox. Perhaps a fox is not gonna, like, kill 8 sheep. No. I don't even think one thing. I don't even think a coyote alone is gonna... Like, I think a pack of coyotes could feed on, like, 1 or 2 sheep. Yeah, but they're not gonna kill 8.
None of them are draining the blood.
Yeah, and none of them are gonna drain the blood.
Because that means that they're feeding
But also,
off of...
8... Like, any predator is not going to kill 8. of one thing.
That means that they're feeding off of solely the blood, right?
Yeah.
So vampire-ish.
Yeah, they're like leaving the rest of the body because they're found dead.
That's so weird.
Yeah. Others, however, recognize the similarities in these deaths to enigmatic cattle mutilations, which had been taking place in the American Southwest. The woman who first sighted the monster had an eyewitness description that was the basis for most famous drawings of the Chupacabra. About 30 citizens claimed to have seen Chupacabras, swearing that it had swooped down from the sky and leapt over treetops.
Wait, they're flying now?
I can't.
Is that what that is? They're swooping down from the sky now? Okay, that got really unrealistic.
I never heard of that ever for the Chupacabra. They're flying. I can't. Okay.
Well, so, vampires.
Oh.
I mean, that's
not completely out of the realm of possibility, I guess.
I guess it's not.
It wasn't until November 19th, 1995, that a detailed description of the Chupacabras came from an eyewitness. On that autumn night, Puerto Rico, the creature struck again. Farmers awoke to a horrifying scene. Dozens of donkeys. Oh, no, not donkeys, sorry. Dozens of turkeys.
I was going to say,
rabbits,
donkeys are huge.
Turkeys, rabbits, goats, cats, dogs, horses, and cows dead, with no explainable cause. Just the mysterious markings left by the blood-drinking Chupacabras. But in the north-central city of... I'm not even going to try. A startled homeowner caught the world's first fleeting glimpse of the goat sucker, described it as having huge red eyes and hairy arms. The creature allegedly broke into the bedroom of the house through the window, tore apart the child's stuffed teddy bear, and left a puddle of slime and a single piece of rancid meat on the windows before disappearing. I'm sorry.
So he wanted the teddy bear, not the child?
I love you trying to break this down.
Because he thought the teddy bear...
why did he leave the slime, and why did he even leave?
What slime, though? It came out of his mouth?
I don't know. He left the slime.
Maybe because he thought the teddy bear was real.
Why would he bust through the window randomly?
I know smelling the teddy bear.
Maybe he didn't even get in through a dog door. He busted through the window.
Flying. Yep.
I could.
That's so odd. It's hot out.
Well, hotter about Okay, so
and then just left the child unharmed.
I'm confused about that. So through the end of 1995, the Chupacabras had been blamed for more than 1,000 mysterious animal deaths, all resulting from blood loss through one or more puncture wounds. That in time, several more eyewitnesses came forward, consistently describing the creature as being monkey-like but having no tail. They characterized it as having a large oval red eyes that sometimes glowed, gray skin, a long snake-like
gray
tongue.
Skin, like vampires.
Yeah, also like that video where it was fangs and long spinal quills that may double as wings.
The quills doubling as wings?
I don't know how that works.
Because how would you fly off of quills?
Yeah, I don't get that.
I want to see porcupines flapping their wings. Flapping their quills.
Those who saw it say the Chupacabra stands between 4 and 5 feet tall. Excuse me?
Stands?
Oh, stands, I guess when it stands.
Like when it stands up or just
If it's just on its all fours at 5 feet, girl.
Yeah.
That thing is huge. Zoologists could think of no known animal that adequately fits the strange portrait. Later sightings across Mexico and the United States describe strange, hairless dog-like creatures sucking the blood of chickens, cattle, goats, and other livestock, until the Chupacabra became widely known across the world. And then it goes more into the police cam footage that we just saw. Mm-hmm. The video was taken in August of 2008 in DeWitt County, Texas, by 2 officers. The footage shows a canine-like animal running on the side of the road. The animal in the video appears to be furless with a long snout, pointed ears. It's possible that the animal could be a coyote or other canine infected with mange. That's what the number one thing that they thought is because that's why it's bald, because mange does that.
What does that mean? Is it a chemical?
Mange is something I can't, like, fully... I think it might be, like, a kind of parasite or something.
Oh.
What? Not feral dogs, but, like, stray dogs get it a lot of the time. And, like, they'll just, like, have patches of baldness. If you have it real bad, like, your whole shit is, like, bald.
I see.
And I think it might be from, like, chewing, like, the itchy, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. But basically it balds them. So, yeah, like, that... Like, look how big its ears is. This is the freeze frame. Like, that doesn't even look like a...
Oh, my gosh.
Like,
its nose
it's so long.
It has like it's long, and then the like black tip looks like Mickey Mouse nose.
Yeah,
like that tip
it does. Oh my god.
Either that, well, no, like.
Wait, what? There's a photo of it in action. Wait. Explanations. In Hood County, Texas, in July 2010, local animal control officers shot and killed an alleged chupacabra.
Shot and killed it. So where is it?
That's what I want. Texas A&M University scientists conducted tests on it and found it to be a coyote-dog hybrid. Shut the fuck up.
So that's probably what they are, though, is like hybrids.
So imagine this, because people do this all the time because they're assholes. Dogs cannot live without humans. We've domesticated them. Yeah. They are from wolves, but they are not wolves. If a lot of people will try to get rid of their dogs and just leave them on the side of the road. And that's not how that works.
No.
But imagine, like, a coyote, like, they find each other and they're semi-similar and breed. And make something like this.
That's not allowed because they are too similar in, like...
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, so you know how you can't breed some dogs together?
Yeah.
Because it will turn out, like...
It's just
completely ridiculous. But some dogs can.
Yeah.
So, like,
I feel like maybe it was like a bigger dog that could. You know what I mean?
Well, it could, but it turned out, like, really, like...
I know.
Messed up.
Well, probably because it's, like, half feral, half domesticated.
So
I don't
it's,
know,
like,
weird.
confused.
I don't know. And it had mange and internal parasites.
What did? The thing that was found?
Oh, here we go. Mange is a class of contagious skin diseases caused by parasitic mites, seen primarily in domesticated animals. This led many to believe the canine chupacabra sightings are animals infected with mange. Others believe the reptile chupacabra to be an alien creature.
Okay, so
I've never heard about it, but look at this picture of it in...
Oh.
Like, that is scary.
Ew. Okay, so what if all chupacabras are, like, breeds that aren't supposed to mix together, like a dog?
Yeah,
and
like different ones. Like back and there's multiple.
Okay, at a farm, like, I'm sure a dog and a wolf or a coyote accidentally bred one time. Like the house dog that was there.
Or even like a fox and a coyote.
Yeah.
Or like
so anything,
a wolf and a coyote. Like
anything that was breeding that was not supposed to probably created this whole group of chupacabras. And then they probably also got parasites. Mm-hmm. And then maybe the parasites were making them act even more crazy. Yeah. Because already breeding things that aren't supposed to be bred together probably makes them a little weird in the head. And then the parasite, so then maybe the parasite was making them suck the blood. Yeah. Because don't some parasites feed off of
but also, how are they sucking? They don't have cheeks. Like, my dog can't even chew a piece of carrot without it falling out the side because he doesn't have cheeks. So how are they, like...
The teeth?
Like, I don't get how you're sucking the blood out through one puncture wound. Like, the most
there's three. But
no, at most three, but it said 1 to 3. 1 to 3 puncture wounds. Some of them are found with 1, some of them 2, some of them 3. It's so weird.
Yeah, that's true. Like, how are they? Because when you watch vampire movies, they're, like, really, like, sucking it. Like, their cheeks go very in.
I don't know how it's possible.
You're right. Dogs don't even know how to suck.
That's so weird. Yeah, and that's about it on the chupacabra.
It's so bizarre.
That is crazy.
It's even more bizarre than I was thinking.
And wild. This picture looks exactly like what was in that police cam video. Like, exactly. Like, with the long ears.
It looks so feral and messed up.
Yeah.
It's almost so sad.
Yeah.
I wonder what kind of dog bred with the coyote.
My thing is, I feel like it's less likely to be a dog and more likely to just be, like, a mix of, like, a wolf and a coyote or
yeah, there's no way they didn't ever breed. Like, come on. They're very similar. Mm-hmm. And same with like a coyote and a fox. Mm-hmm. Like there's no way they're not ever breeding.
And they're just so messed up that they like, there's so few of them because they probably don't find each other fast enough to like breed before they die or whatever.
They probably don't have too long of a lifespan, I would assume.
So the next one is Fiji mermaids, which were like I was like so freaked out by this as a kid. Right by it on Wiki or Encrypted Wiki, it says hoax. So maybe it's been proven to be wrong. Mm. But I remember I thought this was totally real because if you look at these pictures, it's like they found it, right? It looks like somebody found that.
Like the remains of it, like the bones.
It's giving like mummified mermaid. Right. So when I was a kid, I was just like, that's real. And nobody really knows what the history is.
Half mammal, half fish.
Like, so weird.
I mean, it's so possible.
I feel like that's so, like, mermaids in general. Just
I was going to say, I don't know exactly about this one.
And I think these felt so real to me because in my sense, I was like, okay, mermaids, I feel like could be real, but not in the sense that we think. Like, if you look, that looks like a very traditional fish tail.
Yeah.
And a very, like, scary, small, like, fucked up human front half. Which I'm like, if mermaids really existed, that's what that would look like. Right. They wouldn't be like...
They wouldn't be pretty creatures.
Pretty, like whatever.
Yeah.
So the Fiji mermaid was presented as a mummified body of a creature that was supposedly half mammal, half fish. A version of traditional mermaid stories. So the history. Mermaids had been at shows for centuries. These were often... Okay, wait. I'm not going to get into this. I don't know what that is. Okay, hoax. Many people believed Barnum's claim that the Fiji mermaid was actually the torso and head of a baby monkey sewn to the back half of a fish covered in paper mache. You know what? That, I see.
Yeah.
Looking now at that.
It looks kind of like a monkey sewn into a face.
You could sew two different... I could see that. That makes a lot of sense. Oh my God. That's literally all the information.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
There's no more information.
Yeah, but we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. In my opinion, mermaids definitely exist. Yeah. Only because we know so little about the ocean. Like, only knowing what, like, 17% or whatever. There is no way that mermaids do not exist in the other 80-something% of the ocean.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna tell me we don't know, like, 80-something%, but there's no way mermaids can exist in that. Like, it's so, like...
It freaks me out, dude.
It definitely is a thing.
And I don't know, the ocean in general is something that I'm, like, this is cryptid stuff, but we can get now into, like, some of the creepy shit, just in general, like
of the
leading
ocean?
to it, and of the ocean, of just, like... on land creepy shit that like is known and like seen. I don't know, weird shit, but like ocean in general freaks me the fuck out.
Yeah,
like I don't know, like when you think about like how deep and how much of it is unexplored that we literally can't go down into, it's like,
but why can't we just, why do we not by now have some sort of technology that can get to most of it? Why are we still on like 17%? Like,
so
we are
much
so
of it.
far in...
My thing is, we have discovered so much of the ocean. We just have discovered so little. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's more of, like, the mindset of, like, we have discovered... Like, what we've discovered, if you think about what we know of, it is a lot. Like, in your brain. Like, we have the Atlantic, we have the Pacific, we have the depths. Like, I took oceanography in high school. Did I pay attention? Not really.
Great.
It's actually way more boring than I thought it was going to be. Yeah. But I'm sure if I took it now, I'd like it more. But anyway, there was like all these different layers and like depths to the ocean. And I remember just being like, damn. But that's all we've discovered. That was so much we covered in that class. And how like, whatever. And like even just like thinking about how far you can go down. Like how people go deep sea diving and like, even, like, we talked about the Titanic submersible. It wasn't supposed to explode. But, like, there's submarines and things that go way down that you can see the bottom of, like... But there's even... You gotta think about it, like, on land. Like, when you hit the bottom, there's, like, it's like you're gonna reach a point where like, yes, that's the bottom, but you could just keep going deeper.
Right.
And so we can't go down there because of the pressure.
That's very
even
true.
with the things that we've built. I mean, eventually we might be able to, but
better be eventually.
And one thing's like, I don't want to.
But well, as long as I'm not the one going down there, I don't care.
So this gets into a phenomenon. I'm gonna try to look it up, but there was this. I don't remember if you remember that fish that washed up dead on. Oh my god.
Was it like the shark thing, the megalodon?
No.
Do you know about that though?
I'm gonna scare the fuck out of myself.
The megalodon is terrifying.
I hate looking up long fish. No, it was like a long fish washed. I hate looking up shit washed up. Yes, it was this 20-foot long fish shocks locals.
20 foot.
Everybody was holding it.
20 feet.
No, it wasn't this. Oh my god, I used to be able to look this up and it would like immediately pop up. But I remember it was like in the news. Like my mom like told me about it. And basically like, oh, I found it. I was gonna say, all these people were holding it.
What?
Look at this fish.
Ew.
You can, I'll tell you guys the link.
Ew.
Yeah.
It's 12 feet, unique. It looks very, not dinosaurish, but like, yeah, very like evil.
Well, the fish itself isn't really the creepy part, right? I mean, it is creepy. It's long as fuck. There is, in this picture, there is five people. An eel. 5 people standing next to each other holding this fish, and there's still some more fish. Like, it's long as fuck. So this is on mirror.co.uk, and it's, if you just type in like huge self-amputating fish, fish long washes up on a beach and stuns beachgoers.
Was that in the UK then?
I don't remember.
Because it says UK.
US. But maybe it was in the UK because it was a really long time ago. But regardless, like this is a thing that washed up, right? So I remember when I was a kid, this happened, and then I think not too long later, like another thing washed up that was like similar. And I remember my mom's friend was like over and they were like kind of talking, not about it, like in a long conversation, but it kind of just got brought up because it was recent news. Mm-hmm. And my mom's friend had said something that stuck with me so hard, and it was like, well, the fish isn't really the scary part. You got to think about why it washed up dead, like what killed it. Right. And I was like, oh my god, I was like, what the fuck is down there? Like there's something bigger than that killed it.
Either that or it just died.
I mean, that or it just died, but you know, like...
Still, yeah.
The point of it is, like...
Ew. And
it was something we'd never seen before, and I think, well, it was maybe, like, 2013. I don't remember when this was.
Yeah, that's very odd-looking, and it looks terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, this website I don't think is reputable. I'm not about to read anything from it, because this...
Oh, yeah.
It says it was written by somebody in April 2022, but I remember this photo. If I could, like, backtrace it or whatever, I would right now, but this photo was, like, from a couple years ago. But, like, more than 2022. And, yeah, it was just so strange. And you think about, like, the shit in the ocean that, like, washes up. I don't know, there was another thing that, like, was kind of furry, and they were, like, weirded out by it, and they didn't know. But
furry?
Yeah, but it turned out to be, like, something connected to, like, a whale. But I'm just, like, there's the fact that a whale is the biggest animal on planet Earth, right? It's a mammal.
Yeah.
It lives under the ocean, but I'm, like, there's something bigger down there. I don't know.
No,
we just don't know about. Definitely. We haven't seen something all of the ocean. Also, the shit that, like, that evolves in like the darkness of the ocean. Like the darkest depths of the ocean that we can find, the ugliest motherfucking fish live down there. And it's just so strange, and there's all this like weird energy at the bottom of the ocean that I don't like. I love watching nature documentaries, even the kind where like there's ugly animals, but I swear to God, I love ocean nature documentaries, but I swear to God, the ones where they go to the depths of the ocean, I'm like, this is just not the vibe. Like, there's something so off about it. It's so scary. Like, it's so weird.
The one fish with the light.
Yes.
That's crazy, though.
Like,
that, like...
Oh, my God. Like, and the way things run underwater is just...
You remember the megalodon, right, though? Yes. That was a shark, right? The biggest
Everything was
shark.
so big.
But it's extinct
like,
now.
So crazy. Like, different... I don't know, different things that can, like, pop up just from evolution and, like, shit that we just don't even know about yet. Because scientists are working all the time to discover shit, but you also have to remember, like, if people aren't interested in something, it's not going to get, like, discovered. Mm-hmm. Or, whatever. So I'm like, how much shit is not being discovered just because people aren't like looking into it? You just never fucking know. So I don't know.
So
that's weird
weird
as fuck. But yeah, that's the aspect. That's the main aspect of cryptozoology that like freaks me out. Is just like, even if it's unbelievable, right? Like no matter how unbelievable it is, it's more of just like, it's possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What was that meme that went around forever ago where it was like, the chances are low, but never zero?
Yeah.
Like, that's how I feel about
Yeah.
most cryptozoology. Like, I'm not sitting here like, I know for a fact the Bigfoot's real. But, like, the things you don't know.
Right.
Like, there is a situation where something might have happened in some way where it's like, it's just out there. And all the best we're going to get is a sighting. And we just came into a time where like we have cameras all the time and we're catching certain things, and like that show was so interesting. I'll have to show it to you. I don't think it streams on anything because it's like, it wasn't super popular and it's older, but I think I found like a couple full episodes online. You should definitely watch one.
Yeah.
But that show was so cool because they really tried to like just break shit down and they had the money to do it. I remember when I was a kid, I was like, I want this to be my job.
Yeah.
I still feel like that. But unfortunately, nobody's paying you big bucks to be a photographer on a debunking show. So yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. It really is wild.
Well, I think that's all we have on cryptozoology. But if you guys have any other ones that like we didn't mention that you really want us to talk about, you could also just pop that in like the suggestion comment box down below. And we'll look into that for sure.
Yeah, definitely, because I just wanted to cover like the main ones I knew about and like that other people may have heard about, but like there's so many more out there. Yeah, there's so much. Yeah. So
these were just like pretty much like the popular ones and stuff.
Yeah.
But okay, bye guys.
All right, bye guys.